So, Aurora here, back to do another video and keep the flow going and the process moving that I want to start. So, I guess today has been a really good day, a day where I feel that I've truly kind of risen above all the things that have been inhibiting me and kind of keeping me locked in this mental construct of self-limiting ideas and anxiety and fear and feelings of unworthiness and lack of trust within just the places that my life is taking me in this moment. And while the experience of stepping outside of that, the experience of feeling like I finally let go of the charge that keeps me locked in there, has brought so much enthusiasm into my being, into my expression, and so much of just a natural presence with everything that kind of comes in on a day-to-day basis. And it feels like so empowering and so centering, because when you're in that presence and in that just calm kind of but very energized serenity about what's going on and what's flowing in your life, you're ready for whatever comes. You're ready for whatever experience, whatever challenge, or if there's difficulties or problems, they're just, the answer's there, and they just kind of work themselves out, and you find the lesson, you know the lesson, you see the lesson, and you're also prepared inwardly to present what is needed for the situation. And it's a really, really lovely experience to finally get to a space where the anxiety is gone, because for a while I was dealing with so much anxiety and so much fear, basically, of the unknown because I didn't trust myself. I wasn't was just worried about performance, or worried about being enough, or worried that I wasn't good enough, or worried and it goes on and on and on. And I feel like this is such a common thing for everyone to experience, this just, I don't know, this feeling of being so small, and this feeling of literally being a victim of your life and a victim of the experiences that are coming in, and all of the challenges that present themselves make you, they threaten you. They threaten that comfort zone. They threaten that, I guess I want to say it can be like an ego, a mind structure of fear, and something like a barrier, a bubble that we kind of build around ourselves. And then when something new comes in, it starts bumping up against our bubble, and it triggers different things. It triggers different fears, it triggers different anxiety, and it triggers all of those insecurities, and then it makes every situation like 1,000 times worse than it actually is. And the funny thing I've also realized through that is that that's the experience that people go through inwardly. And, to a certain extent, others can pick up on that with sensitivity, but ultimately, it's not even like that. We just make it into this big ordeal, but the situation is not as intense, not as scary, not as threatening. It's not threatening at all, because it's happening to you, it's where you are. It's what is being offered in the moment. But we create such chaos inside from our fears and from our protective layers, and just, again, lack of trust. And it's really, I don't know, just something like, from going through it within myself, I feel that I experience what it's like to truly be a person who can be afraid of everything and feel everything, and feel so torn between the experiences that are going on, and feel get overwhelmed and lazy and idle, stagnant, because of again, not that trust. And not, you without that trust, you don't have the confidence, you don't have the centering and the security to actually be excited about what is happening in your life, and be ready for it, and be open to it. Because all of that bubble, that fear, that layer of protection that we put around ourselves removes that openness. It closes us off to our experience in life, and we lose the beauty. We lose that innate, just universal intelligence, amazingness of existing through everything, through hard things, through easy things, through any challenge, you know? But I guess that's ultimately what every experience in life is meant to bring forth as well. So, been going through that, you know, you bobble up and down, you get sideswept, and then you come back, and yeah, I'm realizing how important like to have that center, to hold that center, balancing and structure and self-awareness is really key. For a long time, you know, I would wake up and just, I didn't have any structure at all, any direction. I didn't, you know, it was hard for me to wake up. I felt so much resistance to get my day started, and I didn't want to, and I didn't, you know, I didn't have a practice that would help me to kind of center and to get there and to stabilize and to remember who I am when I'm returning to each day, and know what I want to embody, what I want to bring, and who I want to be. But I've started actually consciously grounding myself out, taking that time to just connect with myself and to breathe and to even meditate every morning. And sometimes it's just for 10 minutes, sometimes it's for 30 minutes. And then I do stretching, I do breathing, I cleanse myself, I take care of myself instead of going for the pastry or the coffee right in the morning, just out of that emotional like that emotional need, trying to fill myself up with something. I go to that space of where the emotions are. So if I wake up and I'm feeling uncomfortable or uncertain, or maybe a little bit of a human reject mode, which I like to tend to get into, instead of avoiding it or trying to satiate it with something in this world, I go into breathing and to meditating and to actually allowing myself to feel the space that I'm in that moment, and to go with it. And I find that by doing that, it changes everything around. And it's like a subtle change, but it brings the day into a space where it's like, all right, I'm not a victim of what's going to happen in my day. I don't have to do something. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to go to yoga. I don't have to, you know, get this done or go do these errands or whatever. I'm choosing to, because these are things that I've maybe made a list to do. Maybe they're things that I have to get done, or they're just obligations that I have tied myself to that I've, you know, it's my choice. I stand empowered by the life that I'm living and by the things that I'm going to do in that day, instead of in a resistance to them. And it's really it's really special to bring yourself to that space and to know, you know, if there are things that might be, I don't know, they might be nagging at me to change, I know that I hold the space to trust the universe and also take time to put in the effort and put in the energy that may be needed for those circumstances to conspire, and then I let it go. I release having that control over what is happening, and again, everything starts to fall into place. And maybe it can be a little slower than I like, but I just go into breathing, and I go into centering again and grounding it out, and bring myself back to the moment and out of the mind construct, which is, you know, it's a process, it's a practice. It doesn't just, you know, you can't just take some magic pill or do some magic thing or pose or whatever and get out of it. You have to continuously put in the effort to remember who you are, to tap into that, and to get out of the thoughts and the chain and the crazy, you know, that can kind of take you out of who you are. And it's a great feeling. And I want to go back into talking about some other practices that I do, which involve working with my heart in order to embody that. And again, learning where it is that I am criticizing myself or judging myself or judging other people in return. And even through that, if I'm judging myself, if I'm criticizing myself, I don't have the openness or the space within to be an open and loving and non-judgmental person towards others. So even if I want to present myself as someone who doesn't judge others, who is really nice and open and loving, if I'm not loving myself, I can't love others entirely. I might just, that might just come up as something that's, I'm just closed off, I'm shut down, I'm not open, I'm afraid, or whatever. And then also holding space for the fact that I can be a very introverted person, and it's okay to not, nonverbal communication I'm very fond of that. So it's okay to not always be this like vibrant, open, talkative person, because that's not who I want to be all the time. So that brings me back to forgiveness and understanding. So I can forgive myself for the space, for the places in life where I'm not holding space for the nurturing that I might need, or the love, or, like, whatever it is that I'm going through at that moment, not holding space, not really being genuinely honest and loving towards myself, and also understand who I am, and have that understanding, feel that understanding for myself, and feel that understanding for situations that are presented in life that might seem difficult, or mirror of somebody, that can seem like it's a complex situation or a complicated or a difficult situation, but understand that it's another lesson. It's showing me something. It's showing me a mock-up, or I don't want to say failure, but a space where I can work on more. I can offer my heart to that area and expand more. So understanding and forgiveness are big for me right now. Big and major, and just, I don't know, through meditation is when I do it, and I hold that space to feel forgiveness for anything, for whatever it is, for any difficulty that I might have had in the previous day, or any difficulty that I might have. I hold space that I'm aware and present enough to have that virtue and have that feeling available to something, to whatever presents itself again. And also with understanding. And I do believe that this practice and this being conscious of that heart space, and the virtues of the heart, I feel, forgiveness and understanding, is what is helping me drop that bubble, shed that bubble, remove that bubble from, for protecting myself. Remove those fears, remove those insecurities, and letting who I am just present itself in that moment. And I highly recommend it. I recommend it to everyone that I talk to who's going through difficult things, to truly find forgiveness and understanding. And then come back to your center and ground out, and then kind of stop rejecting being who you are and the reality that you live in, whatever it is, because it's great. It's hard to see. It is hard to see that sometimes, but it really is. Just existing itself, the fact that we exist is pretty miraculous. So that's there. And yeah, so my day's been good. That's the gist of what's going on in my day. And as for, I'll probably have to talk more about that later, but as for what's going on in future plan, I am deciding to, and working with some friends, we're going to start collaborating and making videos, and we're going to record ourselves kind of in our natural state, but also in a state of communicating about very spirit-based, esoteric, or philosophical topics, whatever it is, and we want to incorporate a lot of humor, and we just kind of want to be real with people and share that, present that in different levels, and at different times, in different spaces, in different, just kind of to exemplify what it's like to operate in such a transitional time. And that's going to be incorporated in the project that I'm doing, along with an interview process that I want to start, which might be further on in the future. And anyone, again, who's interested in getting involved, I would love to interview you or have you send in a video once I have the site up and ready. And I want to know who you are. I want to know what you do and what brings you, what gives you fire, what gives you passion, what drives you in life and what brings you down and what you learn from and what challenges you face and all of it. I just want to know, like, I want to hear about, you know, the real things, the deep things, the things that you might find irrelevant, the things that we don't usually talk about with others, all of it. And yeah, so this is my video. Again, I have a lot more to kind of get together and to work out, and really need to set a foundation for it. But yeah, it's starting, and I just wanted to share my experience of popping the bubble, or I don't know, popping's a little harsh, kind of like climbing out of the bubble. So yeah, that's it. Well, lots of love, and